Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to another great show of the Van Buren Variety Show. I am Bob Van Buren, your host, here once a week with a great guest and always an interesting topic, interesting subject. So glad you're all here. We've got a great show for you tonight, as always. And this, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you watching, this is kind of a historic episode because as of right now, this is the 1 year anniversary of the Van Buren Variety Show. It's been over a year now, or at a year, over 50 episodes. I couldn't be happier. I've met a lot of great people and had a lot of great guests over the past year. It's been a great ride. And I appreciate you, those of you that have been watching my videos and have been tuning in. I hope you've learned something along the way, a lot of my guests, and been entertained as well. Hope to have a lot more years. So those of you that have subscribed, those of you that have liked my videos, again, heartfelt thanks. For those of you that haven't subscribed and liked, make sure you like these videos and make sure you subscribe as well. And that way you'll see some great entertainment and subjects along the way. So, happy first birthday to the Van Buren Variety Show, and I owe it all to you. Not just my audience, but to every single guest that's been on this show. Covered a lot of topics, covered a lot of ground. I've learned a lot myself just by having different guests on, so I hope you have too. And again, it's been a great ride. 1 year today, and hopefully, like I said, a year, 2, 3, 4. As long as the Lord keeps me here, hopefully we'll have a lot more episodes. And to kick off this special 1 year anniversary episode, I've been promising you a lot. Y'all been talking to, I've been talking to you every episode. There's going to be some music coming up, some entertainment. It's great to have lectures on books and other products, but we got to just chill sometimes from a day at work and just get away from life for a while and hear some awesome music. And we've got that tonight. Not only do I have music for you, I have got a member of the band here to talk, and we'll be talking to him at length about his experience, his music, there's touring, so all kinds of information. So the name of the band is Ghoultown, and the lead singer is right here, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to Lyle Blackburn of Ghoultown. Lyle, welcome to the Van Buren Variety Show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Congrats on the 1 year anniversary.
Thank you, Lyle. Well, let's kind of talk about your band. Now, I want to talk, ladies and gentlemen, I have got one of their CDs, and I think I've already worn it out because I play it in the car and I play it at work. So it's some great music. So, Lyle, if somebody asked you, what kind of music do you play? How would you describe your music?
That's actually a hard question because Ghoultown is very unique, and there's no real specific genre that we fit into. I like to call it Tex-Mex rock and roll, but that really,
good.
It's kind of gets it. But really, we're just kind of a combination between a lot of things. I think at the heart, we're a Texas band. Mm-hmm. I was born in Fort Worth, and I've lived in Texas all my life, and sort of everything I've done has had this kind of Texas vibe. But I'm also into like horror movies, monsters, spaghetti western, metal music, punk music, vintage classic country. So Ghoultown really incorporates all of that somehow into something, and then comes out with a unique sound that really appeals to a wide variety of fans. People have labeled it anything from gothabilly, put it into psychobilly, even called it rockabilly, which is, maybe some old kind of Johnny Cash vibe, but I kind of call it the crossroads between Rob Zombie and Johnny Cash, and that's where Ghoultown sits.
I can agree to that. A lot of your songs have that versatility in there, and that's what makes it so appealing. And so you've done a great job. The songs I've heard, not just on the CD I showed you, but all your other music. So let me ask you, how did Ghoultown form? How long has Ghoultown been a band, and what were the formation?
Ghoultown has actually been a band for quite a long time. I formed the band in 1999.
Okay.
So it's been around, and prior to that, I had played in rather, well-received bands. I had record deals, had toured a lot of the world, and actually had put out, was on my first record when I was in high school in 12th grade. So But Ghoultown is something that sort of ended up being something that was unique and something that I thought was iconic and like no other band, and sort of something that I could, um, say is purely me. And so the band um, formed at the time just from an idea I had, sort of doing this sort of dark Western kind of rock
Sure.
stuff, influence with that kind of classic spaghetti Western. And I mean, the Clint Eastwood, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly,
Yep.
sort of like if that sort of these gunslingers had a band from Texas. And I thought, man, that would be cool. How could I do this? And
Mm-hmm.
I just, I'd been around a lot of musicians and knew a lot of guys. So I kind of ended up putting together this interesting group of musicians that kind of had that vision, and included two electric guitars, an acoustic guitar, a bass player, of course, a drummer, and even a trumpet player to give that sort of spaghetti Western
Wow.
feel, which was,
Versatility. Yeah.
yeah, and it gave us a lot of instrumentation that a lot of rock bands don't have, to where we could do a lot of versatile stuff. And I had originally looked for a vocalist. I had never been a vocalist in bands much
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, but when I was writing the songs, and when I showed the prospective vocalists how to sing it, the band members are like, forget it, you do it best. So that's when I sort of ended up as the front man for the band. And we've been around ever since. We have been on an independent labels for our entirety, which was something that developed from me being on bigger labels in other bands and never seeing any money.
Mm-hmm.
Though those bands were able to tour a lot, and all that kind of stuff. But really, I never saw any way to make much money unless you're one of those bands that sells just tons of records. But if you're in
Sure.
the middle zone, and this was at a time in the late '90s when the internet was becoming a force, and
Mm-hmm.
I made a website, and even was selling records mail order early on via the internet. And since then it's grown. I mean, we have fans worldwide. I mean, we get
Wow.
orders from Finland and Russia
Oh,
and
wow.
Belgium and Germany and every, the North American, all over, Japan. And we still operate, we work with other labels, but we still operate independently. And that's been a big benefit. And, we've just sort of retained that independence this whole time.
Well, how'd the name Ghoultown come about? Did you come up with that? And kind of, is that kind of the vibe I guess you're wanting for people would know what kind of music you're playing?
Yeah, it's something I came up with, and it kind of originated from. I'm also a writer, and I've been in music
Okay.
and worked for various magazines, and I've since then written 7 books and
Oh, good.
things like that. But I was trying to do a comic book, actually, which I was a big comic book fan, and I was trying to develop this comic book. And within the comic book was like this post-apocalyptic Western. And I had this band that played in these saloons, and I called it Ghoultown. And then I started thinking, wow, this is a cool thing. And that's when the
Mm-hmm.
whole concept, and I thought, well, maybe I should make this a real band and just forget the whole comic book idea, because where's that going to go?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And so Ghoultown seemed to capture that sort of dark, horror thing that I
Sure.
like. The ghoul, and then the town sort of give it that Western. And I drew up a logo, which has been the same logo ever since. And
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I just kind of took it from a fictional band idea to a real band.
Is this the logo? I'm gonna show the logo. Is this the logo that you're referring to here?
Yep, that's the original, basically the original.
Yeah.
Simple, but it had some identity and iconic representation of the band. So we literally stuck with it.
Kind of looks like the G's a knife. Was that what you were going for there? or
Yeah,
no?
yeah. I basically used a font, and that's sort of a Western font, and
Uh
then
huh.
that made that G really pointed, which kind of gave it that sinister vibe, I guess. And then a by having it outlined, it sort of was like a sign or something you would see on a saloon, I guess.
Oh, like that, like you said, from the old west,
Hmm.
or like a ghost town or something. That's kind of the vibe.
Right.
When you tour, do you tour just locally? Have you been all over different places when you play live?
Yeah, we've played all over, you know, like Western Europe,
Oh, wow, that'd be
tours in
awesome.
Germany, and we played everywhere. We
Mm.
played Slovakia and Poland and all sorts of places like that. We've done festivals in London, played in the UK, as well as played in Canada, and of course a lot of touring in the US where we're based.
Literally a world tour.
Somewhat. I mean, we haven't been to Japan, and there's some other places I played in other bands that we haven't. But in general, we've hit some of the primary
Sure.
touring circuits that a band like us would hit.
Will you be touring anytime soon, like this summer or maybe this fall? Do you have any plans, or is there any upcoming plans to perform live?
Well, we kind of, when we released the album, you were holding up,
Hmm.
Curse of
I'll show
Eldorado.
that.
Um,
Go ahead.
that was in 2020, and
Yeah, this
then
one.
we had plans to do some touring for that, but then came the pandemic, so that
Oh, the COVID stuff.
really
Yeah.
hit hard on uh, music and touring and anything having to do with that. So that kind of put us off track, and even since, it's we kind of just held back to see what was going on, because it's already very expensive to tour, and we have a
Yeah, I'm sure.
six piece band, which is a lot of members plus a road crew. So we kind of just let things see where they're going, and even now it's sort of been, we've started playing again this year. We took some time off, and it's been okay, but turnouts at the venues are not like they used to be, and we really need things to be working right for the economics to be able to afford to do it. So far we just haven't really committed to getting back and doing a long tour, even though
Hmm.
we've hit, we have some various dates at festivals
Sure.
and other gigs that are going on this year, just to kind of get out there and get back at it.
That's great. Let me ask you this question. I've heard other artists ask this same question, and it's kind of half and half. So let me see where you're at on that. I've seen interviews with other musicians where they're asked, "What's easier to do for a musician? Make music videos or perform live?" Well, what would you say? Is which one easier than the other one?
To me, performing live is the easiest. I mean,
Okay.
it's sort of like you don't have to. I mean, you have a presence on stage, and you have the arrangement of players and instruments, but generally, you don't have to think up any clever concepts and find directors and find sets to do the video and
Oh,
interesting ways
sure.
to present the music. So to me, making a video is harder, just because you have to put thought into it beyond just we're here playing. I mean, I guess you could do all videos where you're just standing there playing, but
Mm-hmm.
rock videos, you got to have stuff in them.
Yeah. Action.
um, Action, something for the visuals to go with the music. So to me, that's, I've never been, I like just getting up and playing on stage, or writing the music, and the whole video thing is, if we find a director who has a vision, it's usually then that helps drive the video itself, rather than me trying to do everything.
Hmm. I can see that because I guess in a music video you have to make sure the lighting's just right, the camera's angle, get this one shot of whatever, and then you got to go have someone edit all this stuff. So I can see there's a lot of work in that.
Sure, and I mean expense as well. I mean, people don't realize that to create a good-looking, slick, professional video, you'll spend thousands and thousands of dollars to do it, and so that's an expense, especially where you don't have a record label or somebody funneling money into it, or something. You have to be selective about, you know, um, that sort of thing. Although these days it's a lot easier to, just to stream stuff from an iPhone and what have you. But
Hmm.
Ghoultown to me is just best live. I mean, the recordings are
Sure.
great and everything, but in videos and stuff. But if people that come to see us live, that is our best representation of what the band actually is. It's high energy performance. Sure. We sound like we do on the records, and there's guitars and trumpet players and backup singer, and people that see us live go, wow, that is so cool. Awesome. They kind of get hooked on that. I mean, we played in Austin, Texas last weekend. There were people there that had come down from Chicago. There were people from Washington. I mean, people will come a long way to see us. So we don't play a lot, or we haven't played a lot. So that's sort of a testament to, I guess, that we put on a good show.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned earlier that you've played in Germany, and we have a question from our live audience. So Randy wants to know, have you ever played at Danny's Boys Pub in, I can't say that, Wiesbaden, Germany? I hope I'm not saying that right.
Right. No.
Familiar with that?
No, I don't think we've played that town. Sometimes I'm sure we haven't, but some people ask me to list
all the things you've done. Yeah.
And half the time I can't remember. A bass player is really good at that. He'll be like, oh yeah, I remember this town and this stuff. I'm like, how do you remember all that? It's just a blur to me. But I don't believe we've played there.
Okay. You mentioned playing live. And I agree. When I go see a concert, it's nothing like seeing one of your favorite artists on stage playing live. So I'd like to just show some the photos of y'all playing live. And these are awesome photos, ladies and gentlemen. I highly recommend you go see Ghoultown if you have the chance. See, look, you can't beat a live performance like this. Do you remember where this was, or where this was taken by chance?
Yeah, I recognize the tree. That's actually a venue in Dallas, Texas called Trees. And that on the left side there's literally a tree that's inside the club. So.
Oh, that's a real tree.
It was a tree. It's made into a column, but that's why the club is called Trees. But yeah, it's a great venue, and we have a lot of great pictures out of there because it's got a great stage. And a friend of ours usually comes down to those shows and shoots with a camera, so we always end up with a lot of really cool photos.
That's cool. And like this one here too. Man, I want to ask you, while we're looking at this picture, now that's at the same place. I said the tree, so it must be the same place. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you played guitar. How long have you played guitar? When did you learn? Early age or later in life?
Well, not as young as I wanted. I remember begging my parents for a guitar around 5th grade, because somewhere around that time I got into Kiss and rock music. Yeah. I wanted a guitar. I thought that was cool, and they wouldn't do it. They said, "Well, we got a piano in the house. You can play that."
That's not really a substitute, I don't think.
I can form a gang of gun-slinging outlaws and carry a piano. It just didn't work for me. But
electronic keyboard or something, whatever.
Right. So I ended up having to sort of, in a way, go in the back door and trick them on the music. When I got to 7th grade, I tried out for the marching band. Mm-hmm. So cool. Only so that I could get on drums. I was selected for percussion or whatever. If they'd have picked me for something else, I wouldn't have done it, oboe or whatever. But I got accepted on drums. So then I'm like, well, I need a snare drum, and then I kind of pushed that into my grandmother buying me a whole drum set. And so now here I was with a piece that could be played in a rock band. And I actually started bands in seventh grade, but I didn't get a guitar until I was a senior in high school. I finally got a guitar.
Wow. You finally got one. Oh, but you felt like a kid on Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, I actually won randomly. I worked at Six Flags over Texas, and I randomly won some money, like perfect attendance or something, a drawing. I had no idea, but I took the money and bought a guitar and an amp. And so since I played in bands, I played in drums, but there was guitar players. I had a great way. I was just like, show me some stuff. So it was like, I had my own teachers, and I learned quickly because I was around guitarists and I already knew drums and was familiar. So that kind of helped me become a better musician, really, because I learned drums, bass, guitar,
Absolutely.
eventually became the front man. So I kind of could do it all.
Okay. Well, in a few minutes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play some sample tracks from Ghoultown. So stay tuned. And just a sample, because we want you interested. We want you to buy their music. So, but before I do that, let me kind of go over some of your albums. Now, this one you said was your newest album, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And was this the previous one you did just before that one?
Yes, that was the one before.
Wow. Okay. We're going to be playing some samples of this in here in a second to let my audience see, your music and hear it. But you've got a website here, and I'm going to display that for everybody right now. So www.ghoultown.com. So if people was to go to this website, Lyle, what would they see?
They would see an outdated website with information.
Oh, I bet it ain't that outdated. You got this on there, don't you?
It's up to date, but it's with the way things change in smartphones, it's like you're always trying to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got everything you need to know on there, and basically, which is you need tour dates. It's got all of the albums and in order and what's on the albums, every compilation appearance we've had.
Oh wow!
What movies our music has been featured in, and then there's a page with all the videos that we've done.
Awesome.
And links to obviously to buy the music or to where to find it, like Spotify and Amazon and iTunes and all that kind of stuff. So it's a good way to start into discovering what exists for our band, because obviously
Sure.
We've been around for a while and there's a long catalog of albums and a lot of music. So it will provide you a guide to all that is Ghoultown.
That's great. We got a comment just now, and I'm gonna bring that last one album you've put up. Someone mentioned that it's great artwork. Do you do the artwork on this as well?
No, definitely not.
I'm not artistic either, so.
Right. I've written books and I do music, but art is not one thing I do. But I have a lot of great artists that have done work. These are two different artists that have done work for us. This particular one, Goes to the Southern Sun, is by Dan Brereton. He is a very well-known comic book artist. He does a lot of comic book covers. He's done Justice League of America. He's done Batman. He's done Red Sonja, a lot of big comic book artwork. And the other the other one, Curse of Eldorado, is done by a artist from Finland named Juha Vorma, who has done a lot of stuff for Ghoultown. Most significantly, he did the artwork for a artwork-based music video we did years ago for a song called Drink with the Living Dead. And that is our most popular video with millions upon millions of views. And partially because of his artwork, he did 50 paintings for the video. So he did that album. That's actually I actually posed as a
for this.
Yeah, like a reference photo. I was actually out on my back patio, posed like that, holding up a guitar. So he used that as reference to then create the painting, and we of course wanted that kind of desert looking motif going. So yeah, it's really good stuff.
So in a way, that's kind of you right there, right?
Yeah, you'll find that a lot of the stuff in the band is just sort of me.
Hey, serve as an example, help promote. So what we're going to do right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to play a song, and I'm going to play just a few minutes of it. That way you can kind of get a good feel of their music, and believe me, you're going to want to buy their albums. I mean, this is mine, but I'm definitely going to be buying more, because if you want to really jam and really, really feel good, this is the band to listen to. And I say that just because not because he's on my show, but I mean that wholeheartedly. So let's get a song here that we'll play just a part of, get you interested in. And the name of this song is Bullets Don't Argue. I I'll tell you what, we'll play a little bit of the song, Lyle, then I'll kind of ask you some questions about it. Okay, here we go.
Flies a western sky, the twitching of a nervous eye, the clicking of a chambered round. Another body hits the ground. Riding on a desert plain, a killer on a southbound train, the train on the setting sun. Another hero bites the dust, a coffin full of dollars. Don't a rich man make when you're blind and lifeless? Make no mistake, when it's all said and done, who's lost to one? Take me, get all alive, and laughing, worth the price. Take me, get all alive, bullets don't argue, you lay down your life. Oh yeah. A lonely howl in the night, a shadow in the firelight, the echo of a dead man's tune, a god that spells certain doom. Take me, get all alive, and laughing, worth the price. Take me, get all alive, bullets don't argue, you lay down your life.
Oh, I could listen to that over and over and over again. And just everybody know, this is off their new album that you definitely want to check out, Curse of Eldorado. So, wow. But you know what? If no one wakes up to that and still feels blah, then they must be dead. I love that song. So, did you write that song, or did somebody else write that song?
I wrote that. I write
Oh, wow! Congratulations! I love it.
most all of our music. I mean, occasionally the other guitarists will write a song or so per album, but yeah, I wrote that.
That's awesome. So tell me about the song "Bullets Don't Lie." What kind of? It's kind of self-explanatory, I think, but kind of tell us the
Yeah.
vibe behind it.
Well, what's that on that one? It's Bullets Don't Argue, and
Bullets don't argue. That's right.
without divulging my secrets, a lot of times I will look to these old spaghetti westerns. Which, when I say spaghetti westerns, it's cowboy western movies made in Italy and back in.
Yes.
People are very familiar with sort of the Clint Eastwood version, which is like for a few dollars more, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. People know those, but there was a lot of those westerns made in the 60s and into the early 70s. And a lot of them have just really crazy and cool titles. And so often I will just kind of look at those movies and like Bullets Don't Argue, like that sounds cool. And
it does.
And then I
Absolutely.
will make some lyrics to it, that don't even necessarily have anything to do with the movie.
Sure.
But it gives me a good title. And for that one, it starts kind of with a banner.
Yes, I like that.
Go for a vibe like one of my favorite songs, which is Black Betty by the band Ram.
I remember that song. Yes, I love it.
They had this sort of stop thing.
Black Betty had a child.
Which was actually, it's credited to a blues guy named Leadbelly, but actually it was older than that. That song was a song sung by prisoners back, in the early 1900s, and Leadbelly sort of took it and made it into a bluesy thing. But anyway, I wanted to do something like like Black Betty because I like that song. It's iconic and it's got a good, just very memorable.
It does, yes. Mm-hmm.
And so I just sort of came up with that riff, and I was like, that sounded cool, and I just started singing something over it, and then pulled in Bullets Don't Argue title, and that sort of made the lyrics flow, and that's
Sure.
how that one came out.
That's an awesome song. I mean, really. I mean, like I said, I mean, if you're still a deadhead after listening to that, talking to my audience here, you may check your pulse because you gotta wake up. That's an awesome song. So you've got so many good songs. I mean, there's just not enough time to play them all, but I do want to give a good sample to some. And so here's one that I really like, and there's which one? There's so many that I like here. I'm going to play a little bit of "Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You." So I think that would be a good one. So, yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is called "Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You." So here's a brief sample of that. Enjoy. Wrong one, wasn't it? I played that one again. Here we go. This is it.
Hey, you. Pick one. Heads or tails?
Man, that one's powerful. So I would ask you kind of what "Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You" about, but I think that's kind of self-explanatory. Would you say?
Yeah, it's like flipping a coin, and you're going to lose either way, kind of a thing. And I kind of envisioned this. Really, kind of envision some artwork of this thumb flipping a big coin, and it's like, it's kind of like these westerns. You just really, they were gritty and dangerous, and there was really no way to win. So, "Heads You Die, Tails I Kill You." Just kind of, again, that one's not all of our songs are so overtly spaghetti western, but that really is.
I love that. I'll do.
And I combined it. The music, I actually reworked a song that I'd written in, believe it or not, in 1996.
Really?
That I'd kind of written for another band that I had that just really, we did one album, but didn't go much beyond that. But I always thought that vibe was cool, and then I just kind of made it a little more twangy for Ghoultown, and did completely different lyrics. So a lot of times, things that don't work in one format, or they don't quite work well, you can later, draw inspiration or use them again in a new way, and they end up that's one of my favorite songs we've done. So it can really yield something unexpected years and years later, obviously.
That's a powerful song. We got a question from our live audience. Batmom wants to know, have you ever been in any other bands? Is Ghoultown the only band you've been in, or what other bands have you been in?
Several other bands. The first one I was in was called The Holy, and that was a punk band that I was in when I was way back in early high school. We only appeared on one record, one song on a Mystic Records compilation of punk rock bands out of California.
I see.
I formed a few other bands that didn't record, and then I was in a band called Solitude Eternus, which was a doom metal band signed to Roadrunner Records back in the early 90s. And Solitude is now considered quite a legendary band, if you will, and has a very good following among doom metal bands. We were picked by some magazines, one of the top 100 metal albums of all time, and there was awesome. a VH1 series called The Evolution of Metal or something, and we were
I think I remember that.
They had there was a doom metal thing, and it was like Black Sabbath and some other bands. So that was a quite successful band, and then I decided doom metal was a little too depressing and laborious and slow, and the only dude showed up to our shows, and I thought I want to do some fun.
Sure.
So then I started a band called the Kill Creeps, which was kind of a metal punk horror band, which was kind of influenced by the Misfits, and then that's kind of where Ghoultown came out of, some of that, and even the same drummer and bass player went from that band into Ghoultown.
Migrated over. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I think Ghoultown to me, once, like I said, I was kind of messing with the comic book and stuff, and I thought Ghoultown has more potential to stand out and be iconic, for better or worse. And it incorporated sort of my Texas thing, and so then Ghoultown. Once I started Ghoultown in 1999, that's been the only band I've been in ever since. Great.
We got a comment from our live audience, and I can totally agree with this comment, Lyle. Tex from Texas Front Porch and the Trinity Paracryptid Research Channel. Brother Lyle can rock. At Tex, 100% agree. I think we all do.
And Tex, you rock.
Oh, did you hear that? Okay. He'll pay you the $50 later for saying that. Just kidding. Thanks. So, we played two songs from your new album, which again is The Curse of Eldorado, but we've got one song here called Southern Sun. Is that from your previous album?
Yeah, that's the lead track on Ghost of the Southern Sun album.
Okay. We'd like to play a little bit of sample of that. And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned, because, the music itself speaks for itself, but there may be a music video coming up. So you don't close yet. I can't imagine anybody wanting to sign off just yet. So here is from the previous album from Ghoultown. It's called Southern Sun. Enjoy.
Stop and take stand steady
Man, I could jam to that all night long.
Yeah, it's a lot of fast numbers there.
I love that too.
You can see, like, I don't know, just high energy, and we have slower songs as well. We
Hmm.
tend to play a lot of those high energy ones live because you're in a club or music venue, and it just amps people up. So we often tend to play the 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 fast ones more live than we do the others, but there's certainly
Hmm.
a lot of favorites on the slower ones as well.
Now, I was reading your bio on your website, and this is something I'm sure, well, I'm interested in it. I'm sure my audience would love to hear more about it. Tell us about uh, how your band and Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, kind of came together for a while.
Yeah, that's a really great moment in the Ghoultown history. We were playing at a VIP party at a horror convention in Dallas called Texas Frightmare Weekend.
Uh huh.
Um, we're based out of Dallas, so we played at various horror conventions. We kind of have the spooky vibe, so we've played a lot of horror conventions. I like to do that because I'm a huge horror fan, so it just gives
Sure.
me access to hang out at at these events and whatever. But
Sure.
so we were playing this VIP party, and it was sort of a scaled down version. We were just doing like acoustic stuff because it wasn't a full on like just like in a hotel and stuff. So we were going to
Sure.
do a full on rock show. Elvira's manager was at the party. She was not, and he was blown away. So he apparently told Elvira, Cassandra, about the band. And so the next day during the convention, we had a booth set up where we were selling our music and signing autographs and whatever.
Oh, that's great.
And I was off over talking to some filmmaker friends of mine, and somebody ran up and said, "Hey, you need to get back to your table. Elvira wants to meet you." And
Oh, wow.
I said, "What? I mean, what are you talking about?" I thought they were trying to,
Pulling your leg. Yeah.
punk me or prank me, And no, seriously, she's coming over there and wants to meet you. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I went over to the table, and sure enough, here comes Elvira with
Oh,
a
wow.
manager, walks up and said, "So my manager Scott says you guys are amazing. I'm sorry I missed you at the show, but I just wanted
Hmm.
to come over here and meet you and look at look at your stuff and whatever." So I'm thinking, oh my God. I mean, I'm as a horror kid, I mean, I was a huge fan of hers,
Oh,
you
who
know,
wouldn't be starstruck? Yeah.
many years. And of course, she's even more famous now than
Hmm.
she was back in the day. But um, and this was around 2009, I want to say, when we met her. Anyway, so that sort of led one thing to the other, and her and I started talking, and she just kind of mentioned, you should write a song for me or something of that effect. And I'm like, well, I could easily do that. I mean, I'm a fan. This would be great. And so I ended up talking to her manager, and we got this idea to do a song that she could use on her website or somewhere.
Wow.
It'd be fun. So we ended up, after that wrapped up, I came home. I started working on the song, and I made a demo just with me on acoustic guitar, sent it out to them for approval. They liked it. And so then Ghoultown, we learned the song as a band and went in and recorded it. And it's called Mistress of the Dark. And it turned out really good, the song. And
Mm,
so then
that is
we had,
awesome.
we had a mutual friend named Grizz Grimley, who is an artist, a great illustrator, and he'd also directed some short films and things. She was a big fan of his books, and we knew him through doing music for one of his films. And somehow the idea came up that we should shoot a video for this Mistress of the Dark song. So,
Wow.
you know, long story short, we ended up going out to Hollywood and filmed a music video at the famous Magic Castle, um, which is a famous location there in
Hmm.
Hollywood. And we filmed with Elvira and created this Mistress of the Dark video
Oh,
directed by
wow.
Bruce Grimley. And of course, that just helped our band. I mean,
Sure.
immensely. her popularity, and just because the music video is so cool. And I mean, for me to perform in a video with Cassandra and just that whole thing was nuts. It was,
Once in a lifetime opportunity. Wow.
he was. So, you know, sometimes I look back and go, wow, how did that happen? You know,
Yeah.
whatever. I guess I just trust that the music is good and interesting. And if you go out there, interesting things happen. So that's how that happened. That's one of our most popular videos, obviously, and I mean, any interview I've ever done, I get asked about that. Even if people are interviewing me about my books or whatever else, it's always
They want to know about Elvira.
and rightly so. I mean, she is.
That's something to be proud of, man. That is, wow. Well, speaking of music videos, we got, some more music. I'm going to talk about some of your other albums that we haven't covered yet. But I do want to show the video called I Am the Night. And let me ask you, on average, it doesn't have to be this particular video, but on a music video, how long does that take to film, like from beginning to end? A few weeks? Could it take a month? I mean, what's the normal time frame to make a music video?
Well, I mean, I'm as anything, it always comes down to the budget and money. So I'm sure, some bands could spend weeks doing that. For us, where we're trying to do is the most professional video we can on the best budget. We usually take 2 days. So it's usually we'll shoot in one location, was usually the band performing. In some context, like you'll see in this video, we're performing in this old barn that was literally about to fall down on us. And then the other scenes were shot like the next day at a different location. So it's kind of a 2-day shoot. And usually that's for us, that's what they are, because you usually kind of melt together a little bit of live performance with the other scenes. So you can do both of those in different takes. So in this one, we shot this in an old barn that a friend of mine found. So we were looking for, kind of that dilapidated, spooky little barn. And then the other scenes with some of the other parts, and there was even actors and stuff. Those were shot over at on my aunt and uncle's property by their house. Here in Texas, and they had a great kick out of having the band out. We're running through their creek bed, shooting.
Wow. Okay, well, I'll just play a little, like I said, like the other music. I'm gonna play like a little sample of it, get people interested, and folks, if you want to hear more than just a sample, that we will be discussing how you can purchase Ghoultown's great music. So let's now. Hopefully this will go through. There's been some problems with screen sharing, but I'm gonna do my best. So, but we'll send you a sample of this real quick, and so hopefully this will really get you wanting to purchase their music as soon as possible. So, let me see if I can do this real quick. Let's see. Share.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I might have to unmute myself. See, I told you there's always going to be some gremlins up there. But no, I was going to say that last minute that you were there in that video, you kind of scared me a little bit. So I know that's the vibe you want, but the way you came out of that outhouse or that closet or whatever that was, just the look on your face.
Yeah, that song is about vampires. I Am the Night is about vampires,
Okay.
and so obviously I was getting my best Bela Lugosi, Christopher Lee sort of vampire, and I came out like a undead cowboy vampire and did that scene where it looks like I pick him up and stuff.
Yes, I saw that. Yeah, I thought of True Blood. I don't know if you saw True Blood. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, kind of like that. So it was pretty cool. They put in that effect like I sucked his soul out and stuff. So
that's awesome. Yeah, that takes a lot more smarter people than I do. I have, for example.
Yeah, those guys were great. Those two guys that made that video and just they did it such a great job on such a small budget and it for what we were working with. And if I look back at it now, it's like, wow, this looks cool. It's a cool video and some of the lighting in that barn and everything was just
It was
super
awesome. Yeah, you say it was on a tight budget, but you wouldn't know it from looking at the video. It's very professional. I mean, this is I think the major studios could not have done any better, in my opinion. So,
right. I think a lot of that boils down to the vision and creativity of the filmmakers and the band and those guys knowing how to make it look good without having, a lot of money. And honestly, I mean, things can be done they don't require a lot of money if you just know how to utilize the technology right.
absolutely. Let me bring up some other photos. You brought, I believe you have some photos here that I can show of your band. So let me bring that up really quick. There's actually two photos, so I'll show both. Is this your current band right here?
Yeah.
So who plays what, like from left to right?
The far left, that's Logan Black. He plays drums. The guy with sunglasses is Lizard Lazario. He plays the acoustic.
Cool.
There's me. The witchy girl up on top is Ashley Cherie. She is our backing vocalist. The guy to the right of me is JT. He's the lead guitarist. And the cool-looking bandito on the very right his name is Santi. He only has one name, Santi.
Santi. Okay. I mean, hey, that's original. I say, And I think is this that's with the logo now. Okay.
Right, just a different role.
So okay, well, I mean, there's probably people watching this either live or that will be watching this later, and they're very interested in purchasing your music. Would you say that the best place to go to buy your music is on your website, or is there other places as well?
Well, it depends. If you want the physical copies of CDs or vinyl LPs, then our shop link at Ghoultown.com will go to our online store where you can order that sort of stuff. And then if you into just downloads, streaming style, you can purchase that at iTunes and Amazon,
Okay.
and Spotify, and I mean, you can even buy our CDs on Amazon. And also, as of this week, we signed a deal with a label in Spain called Wrecking Bones Records, who is re-releasing all of our albums on 12-inch vinyl in the European market, which
Really
is helpful. I mean, we've always sold to the Europe market, but it's a problem because the shipping from over here is so expensive.
true.
The CD is more than the CD itself. So Wrecking Bones has just put up a pre-order for to get one of the albums that they're producing over there, which is great because the European fans can buy them and not have to pay the ridiculous shipping, that would require basically an export.
In fact, you brought something up, and that actually was a question earlier in our live chat that I didn't have a chance to ask you. But now, of course, you sell CDs, obviously. But someone was asking, do you make and sell vinyl, your stuff on vinyl? And I think the answer is yes now.
Yes, yeah, we haven't put every album on vinyl. I mean, some of the early albums, that was at a time when nobody wanted vinyl.
Right.
Brass and vinyl became in vogue again. We put our album Life After Sundown was on vinyl, those are sold out, and then the newest album is on vinyl, and I think I literally have 2 copies left. They're almost total. Ghost of the Southern Sun, which was the album before that, is coming to vinyl this summer. So, we're slowly getting out. And then that, like I said, Wrecking Bones is going backwards and putting all of them all the way back to the beginning, some of which have never been on vinyl.
I mean, you talk about collector's editions. Wow. that will be awesome. But let me ask you this. Now, normally some artists, if they have their own website and they have their merchandise out there, they'll get, well, I guess you could say, a bigger cut than if you bought it from a larger distributor. So would that be the case here? I mean, people should go to your website more than to purchase your products, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. That'd be the best start, because something that we can fulfill on our end, we've cut out any sort of middlemen, such as going through. By the time you go through our distributor to Amazon, if somebody buys our CD on Amazon, we get barely above what it costs to even make the CD. It's still great. It's cool that people buy them however they buy them, but definitely, especially when you're trying to support a band that you really love, always check their website first. And if they've got a store on there, that's definitely the best way to put the money you're going to spend anyway into the band's pocket.
Absolutely.
And I see this posted online and stuff where, I'm looking for your stuff. Where do I get it? It's like, I think in this day and age, any band is going to have a website. This is just sort of the 101 that most bands would have something or some website that would direct you where they want you to purchase. And so that's always a great way for people to start, and me personally, if all the bands I love, that's where I would start as well, and see what they have to offer direct to support them the best way.
Hey, well, I do have another question for you, but this might be kind of a difficult question for you. And I know it would be for me. If you were asking me this question, I don't think I could answer it. Like your new album here, you have 12 awesome tracks on there. There's not a bad song on here. I mean, honestly. But which one would you say is your personal favorite? Do you have a favorite, or can you not answer that question?
Yeah, that's like asking which one of your kids is your favorite.
Do you love more? Yeah, that's true.
It's a little like that, but there's always, when you create music, there's always certain songs that you feel like you've met what you were trying to do, or exceeded, or even surprised yourself with what you were able to do on that song, and you feel like it might best represent what you want people to take home about you. And me being somebody I play guitar and done all this stuff, I never aspired to be the singer. So a lot of times I know I can play the guitar and do all that other stuff, but when I can perform great on vocals, that's an accomplishment, because that to me wasn't my forte or whatever. So in some ways, on Curse of Eldorado, my favorite song just personally is Trail of the Snake.
I was going to say that was mine too. Yes.
People like it. It's a slow one and everything, which is, again, we have a lot of great slower songs. And I think in some ways the songwriting and the how that came together, and what the other guys contributed, it just like, wow, that song, I don't know how. Sometimes I say, how did I write that, and how did that come out like that? I have no idea, but I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Well, I know we're almost out of time here, but I like to play just a part of Trail of the Snake. Then we'll come back and we'll wrap this up. And yeah, I mean, like I said, y'all never had a bad song. And you talk about your vocals, you play guitar, but you do awesome on vocals, man. So I'm kind of glad that you're kind of multitasking right there. So here once again, ladies and gentlemen, Ghoultown with Trail of the Snake. Enjoy.
Among us all, they slither and ride, making their way through the ages of time. They crawl from holes in the ground where the sun could never be found. The venom that flows from an endless well. If you swing from the gallows, hang by the road, you ain't a saint, a sinner, just a man without soul. If we trade a dollar for a handful of hate, just carry on down the trail of the snake.
Wow, that's awesome. So, and that actually is, I mean, my personal favorite. They're all good, but I've played that. I think I emailed you that I've played that on repeat a lot. So.
Yeah, it came out really well. What I especially like is there's a lot, as it progresses, a lot of backing vocals in there, and that was
yes
with Ashley that does the backing vocals. It was something that I hadn't explored as much on the previous records as I did on this, because as you go forward, I mean, it's like our 8th album, you have to find ways to stay in the same style, but to expand that, because you start to make up a song, you go, oh, that sounds like a song we did on the second record or whatever. So by adding that backing vocal, which I've kind of brought in, it gave me another sort of instrumentation to add something fresh. And so with Trail of the Snake, I think those backing vocals really come through and add that vibe to make that song just really stand out.
Well, tell us about that song, Trail of the Snake. What was the thought process on that one?
That one was, I was trying to write something that kind of had that sort of open, I don't know, a desert kind of vibe. It's a very open sounding, and especially what our lead guitarist does with that kind of weird sounding guitar, it's a little open, and it kind of gives you that sort of driving or going through the desert feel, which is kind of always plays into that Western motif that we do, kind of the desolate stuff. And so I don't know, I thought of sidewinders and snakes and things in the desert, and then sort of I always end up spinning that instead of, I mean, I'm not just going to write about a snake in the desert necessarily. It has to have some subtext or meaning. And so that was sort of like, it was about people in our lives that don't have our best interest, people that use us or stab us in the back, or that are just bad people that we don't need in our lives, a negative influence. So it's sort of like Trail of the Snake. If you follow these, you let these people come in, and they can upset the balance of your life. And then I just throw in your usual, if you hanging by the road, and sort of this imagery of that desert and desolation. So that's where that came from. And I think one of the keys is that guitar and this is always the surprise. I came up with the music, and I write almost all this stuff on an acoustic guitar, just the bare bones of it. And if it sounds good on an acoustic, then I know, obviously, if you put the full instrumentation, it's going to sound even better. And when our guitarist came in and was putting in those extra things he had done with the vibrato sounding guitar and stuff, I was like, oh man, I didn't even envision that. And it took it to another level. So that's why maybe I write the songs, but without the rest of the band doing what they do to add those touches and to play it in their style, it wouldn't be Ghoultown, you know.
It's teamwork for sure.
For sure, yeah.
Well, let me just bring your website up one more time for our audience. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to go to this website if you like Lyle and his singing and the whole band. I mean, this is the place to go. Get your albums right now. So, all these albums, they're obviously doing things right. And also, you might want to check out the website because they might have some touring tour dates in your area. You never know, next year, whatever. And so let them know, how much you appreciate them, you want to see them. So, Lyle, I appreciate you being on the show. It's been great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I enjoyed. I know we met in person, which is where you got the CD. So, always great to have met in real life, and to follow that up with, conversing about these things together across the internet.
Yeah, even got your autograph too.
You can sell that on eBay for even more.
Oh no, this is mine.
Right.
They bury me with this. Yeah, no, just kidding. Well, Lyle, again, I appreciate it. Good luck with your band, and I would love to have you back on the show again very soon too.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
Good night. And ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it all for tonight's episode for this 1 year anniversary show, and I could not have asked for a better guest tonight. I mean, this has been a party for me, and to have Ghoultown's music here just made it all that much better. So it's been a year, and I appreciate those of you that stuck with me for a year. Hopefully we'll see just as good things coming up the following year. So remember, I'm on the air once a week with an individual guest with an interesting topic. It might be a hobby, it could be a profession, could be like a how-to segment, making a craft. You never know. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also hit the like button, because I'm sure Lyle would like to know how many people have watched this video. And if you really like his music, please go to ghoultown.com and purchase his music. And believe me, you will not. If you're in a bad mood, you won't be in a bad mood very long when you hear their music. So that's from a personal statement too. So good night, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show, and I will talk to you all next week. Good night, everybody.